some joining later. Okay, then officially welcome to our fourth workshop day of the first ICF Austria virtual conference. And I'm very happy to welcome Sameh Hassan as our speaker today. Sameh is a growth coach and mentor. He's working with coaches, leaders, and organizations. And Sameh says about coaching that coaching through presence is the art of being an authentic human in support of humanity and not objectives. And I find this summit very inspiring. And I'm really looking forward to hear more about that in your presentation now. And with this, I would like to hand over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Melina, for such a lovely introduction. Welcome, everybody. It's lovely to see so many faces from every corner of this lovely world that we share. Allow me to share with you my presentation, and then I will start by introducing or speaking a bit about myself. Since I'm the speaker, so you have nowhere to go, I will tell you about me. Such a diverse group we have. Definitely, our workshop will be interactive. Your input will be much more valuable than mine. I'm not here to teach you. I'm here more to learn from you. So let's start by taking 3 minutes to speak about myself. 3 minutes to cover who I am. I hope that I'll be able to do a good job. So it all started with this boy. Since a very young age, my family was always moving from one country to another because of my father's work. So I never knew where is home, and I was always seeking to belong, to find this home. My origin is from Egypt. But then even when we used to go back to Egypt for a vacation, I was just the kid who live abroad. He's not like us. He's different than us. So in every class, in every community, I was always the outsider in some shape, some form. This is the energy that I came from. This energy isolated me a bit with a mild form of dyslexia and a bit of, and even being an introvert. It was not a comfortable beginning of my life. And it is this comfort that made me trying to seek something more, to understand where do I belong. I definitely learned that I do not belong to a country, to a geographic location, nor to one culture, until I became this kind of a nomad who go from one place to another, crossing cultures and crossing faiths. All of this nomadic form of life allowed me to discover martial arts and healing arts as a way to strengthen myself and overcome this child inside of me that is always seeking to belong, always seeking to be at ease, to feel safe somewhere. Martial arts and healing arts, almost 30 years of practice, and then I started teaching it. This is where I started to understand more that home needs to be crafted within. I traveled the world studying different disciplines. At the beginning, I thought that because it makes me stronger and it helped me help others be stronger and healthier. But then I discovered that actually my calling there was when I used to see people shift, change. Their entire life, their entire relationship changed just because of few practices that I introduced. And this is where I started realizing that it is not about martial arts, self-defense, balance, healing arts. It's more about being a catalyst of change and transformation. And in my travels, it led me to Canada, where I studied the Western form of uh, human development. So I studied with two big coaching schools, one in Canada and the other in the United States. And this is where I started blending, feeling that there is something from the Far East and the East that is missing. And in the same time, there is something from the West that was missing for me to the whole art and science of human development. And after I accumulated experience, almost like 15 years of coaching experience, I developed my own methodology that I called somatic thinking. A methodology that is all about creating the bridge between Far East and West in terms of philosophies to human development, and at the same time creating a bridge between the body and the mind with the way that will allow the mind to invite the body and the thinking process and the decision making. And that was mind-boggling. I saw it transforming people. The transformation that we used to reach in 6, 7, sometimes 12 coaching sessions, I saw it happening in a couple of sessions, 3 sessions. And before I know it, years have passed. I found myself the first Arabic speaker and who obtained an MCC credential from the ICF. And I found that I was honored as one of the 6 young leaders who are pious to lead the coaching industry by the ICF. And the last thing that we just did, that I was part of the task force that redefining coaching, that all of you will know about it hopefully soon. And this is about me. I think I stole more than 3 minutes. Why am I here? I'm here to convey a simple message. We need to bring humanity back. We need to bring humanity, this kind of intuitive humanity, to the professional and to the leadership world. The idea of growing beyond limits, this is what I built my coaching school and company around. But the limits here, it is not challenges that I'm referring to. I'm referring to results and objectives. Sometimes when all what we are putting in our mind as leaders or coaches is to achieve results and reach objectives, we limit the person, we limit the human being from growing beyond it. And this is what I'm here to share a little bit about with you. And let's start by, please join me in this practice. Let's explore our breathing limits. Seated, keeping your back straight, relaxing your muscles. You can put your hands in your stomach if you want. And as you inhale, I would like you to inhale to your limits, to your maximum, filling your stomach with air. And as you exhale, I would like you to empty your stomach from the air, pulling your stomach as deep as you can get. So let's do it together. Inhale. Expand your abdominal area to the maximum. Exhale. Pulling your abdominal area to the maximum. Now remember my word, to the maximum. Reach your limit. So inhale. You are sure that this is your maximum? Exhale. I will trust you. This is your maximum. You cannot exhale more. Okay, now try this with me. Inhale. Again to the maximum. Reach your limits. Hold your breath. Inhale a little bit more. A little bit more. Last time more. Now exhale. Empty your stomach from the air. Hold your breath. That's your maximum. Exhale more. A little bit more. Last time. Okay, inhale again. Inhale more. More. Exhale. Pull your stomach in. Exhale more. Exhale more. Good. Breathe naturally. I don't want you to get lightheaded. Now, explain this to me. At the beginning, I asked you to inhale and exhale to your limits, to your maximum. And you told me that this is your maximum. And I trust that you are not lying to me, nor to yourself. But then, as I told you, inhale more, you always manage to inhale a little bit more. How dare you lie to me or lie to yourself about your limits? So imagine if we got our breathing limits wrong. What else did we get wrong? What other limits did we put to ourselves? Just based on an idea that I know where is my limits. How does that sound to you? Please feel free to write in the chat box. What are you getting there? How are you hearing me? Great example of how to help people push beyond their perceived limits. Happy that you see that. What else? Questioning continuously. Fantastic point. Always there is more. Great. Making extra mile. People do not want to leave their comfort zone. I agree. We create our own limits. Someone else helps to push that limit, aka a coach. I agree. Our beliefs about ourselves limit us. Need a coach to overcome belief about my limits. We get wrong the idea of how far we can go. Trust. Fantastic input. Perceived limits are everywhere. Learning one step further all the time. Thank you for your engagement. So, this is what I would like to leave you with. If I will succeed, to grow beyond your limits, know that you do not really know them. This is where the magic will start. The idea that I know, that's the problem. There is something that's very famous in our school. I teach it to our students. If you really want to know, all knowing must go. And once you know that you do not know, only then you will know. So it's a riddle now. So we need to cut our attachment to knowing, to have a healthier relationship to the idea of knowing. Okay. So before we continue, allow me to ask for your help. Help me set a group rules, since it is an interactive session. And I would like to start with the first 2 rules or 3 max, and then please share with me your input in the chat room. So the first rule that I would like to share with you is no JJs. What does that mean? The first J is judgment. Do not judge others, nor judge yourself. It's as simple as that. And the second J is justification. You do not owe me anything to justify yourself. You do not owe anybody to justify yourself. Judgment and justification just burn a lot of energy that we can use somewhere else. So the first rule that I would like to suggest to our group today is no JJs. The second rule, engagement. Try to engage as much as possible. Not because it will benefit you, but because it will benefit us. It will benefit me. It will help me learn from you. So as more you will engage, as everybody else will develop around you. Confidentiality, especially in the breakout rooms, whatever happened here stays here. I know that the majority of us are coaches, and there are some, and there are leaders as well. So I would like, at least for all of us, to have this idea clear in front of our eyes, the confidentiality. So this is my input: no JJs, engagement, and confidentiality. What else? Please add. What else would you like to see in our session in terms of an interaction rules? Fun and learning. Yeah, I agree with this one. Good one, Elena. Fun and learning. What else? Connection. I can tell you that I promise that I will try, but then if I will try and I fail in connecting, I hope that it will be okay for you, because not all of us understand what does really connection mean. Okay. Fun and learning, connection, no JJs, engagement, confidentiality, something else? So we will not spend a lot of time here. If you will not engage in creating your rules, others will make it for you. Trying out the exercises. Yes, for sure. I agree with this one. That's the whole idea of making this workshop interactive. Diversity. Yes, I will add accepting diversity, since anyhow, we are in a very diverse space. Having question marks is okay. I agree. Accept questions, accept not knowing. Being open-minded. Thank you for this one, Edward. Okay, I think we are set with our rules for today. So Please, I will follow these rules. No JJs, engagement as much as I can, confidentiality, fun and learning, connection, trying out the exercises, diversity, having question marks is okay, and being open-minded. Would you agree? Perfect. I also understand that the majority of us have like a fatigue of video conferencing and constantly opening the camera and the videos. But I will just tell you about a wish of mine that I will be able to see more of you as much as possible, only because COVID is getting more and more claustrophobic and I'm fed up. And honestly, I need to see people and interact as much as possible. Yet I would respect your comfort zone as well. Okay, so this is your turn. For 3 minutes, the system will divide you automatically on the breakout rooms, 3 people in each room. And each one of you will have 3 minutes to share their input about these points: your dreams, your limitations, something not many know about you, and why are you in this workshop? Please, just be yourself. And we will not interfere and we'll allow just the system to choose people automatically, which is always exciting. You do not know with who you will speak. So I will always send you a note after each 3 minutes. So like that, you will change partners. And the questions is your dreams, your limitations, something not many know about you, and why are you in this workshop? What attracted you to it? Okay. Perfect. There will be only one room with 2 people. The rest will be triads. So the room with 2 people, once you finish, both of you, you can just come out to the main platform, to the main room. Have fun. Okay. We can pause the recording for now.
Yes, I do that.
Never enough time.
Welcome back. Yes, always happen. At the beginning, we do not want to speak, and once we start speaking, we cannot stop.
Right.
Thank you for engaging. So, from here, now that we spoke to each other, we learned a little bit about each other. Let's see where we will go from there. This one is for you. How do you behave with others when? Of course, this workshop is designed for leaders, but as well, coaches will benefit, or coaches who work with leaders will benefit in the same way. So how do you behave when facing too many changes in a short time? Take a moment and try to respond to this question for yourself or on the chat box, like whatever works for you. How do you behave with others when you find yourself facing too many changes in such a short time? not very attentive, overwhelmed, withdrawal, trying to get control over it, over changes or over others. I'm not getting that. Introvert, okay, I understand. Paralyzed when facing too many changes. Oh, like, bless you. Thank you so much for being so honest with yourself and with us. Stressed, nervous, sometimes too demanding, often mistaken with decisions. I tend to withdraw from other people in order to think. I become very focused on getting through it. I have to work through it. Okay, that's a good perspective as well. Talking too much, depending on how big they are, rejection first and then trying to cope. Okay, I talk to other people, but about it, shared knowledge, I decide what is important or not. Good protocol, so you have a plan for it. All things work for my good. So this is the belief that moves you when you are facing such many changes, withdrawing, not sharing. I hit the gym, it helps me to think. Good one. Stress them, so I stress others. Great authenticity in your answer. Military style of leading. I would be interested to know how would that look like. I meditate, screaming with my kids. I go for a long walk outdoors. I love the fresh air. Okay. And I journal and write it out, specifically what is the blessings in my stressing. It brings clarity. So it's like getting out of the stress by focusing on the blessings. Good. So there is a diverse answers, as you heard. Let's keep it. Now to the next question. With others, how do you behave with others when receiving pressure from your shareholders? Whoever the shareholders are, people that matters to you in your life. If it's in the organization that you are a leader in, or it's in your family. Definitely my kids are my shareholders. So when you receive pressure from them, how do you behave then? Feel free to share in the chat box or just write it for yourself. I put on my negotiation hat, engage, communicate, and seek to understand. I start to negotiate. So right away, I have a kind of an angle that I need to negotiate. Okay. Very interesting. Working on myself and staying positive and breathing. Stay positive and breathe. Inner peace. I work harder to complete what is needed. 80-20. I don't get this. I'm sorry. 80-20. What does that mean? Start shallow breathing. Put more effort. Open communication. What is working and what is not. Then decide what to outsource, delegate, or eliminate, or get help with. And silence is my strength. I engage at the right time. Okay. Well, this room is filled with wisdom. Okay. Now, to our last, no, we have 2 questions left. I get that. Okay, so you'll notice the unhappiness of others. How would you behave then? I told you I'm here to learn from you. Automatically try and rescue. I listen. I offer my help and see if they want the help. Showing empathy, give them time and support. Losing myself in them. If the student is ready, teacher will appear, asking if they need a hug, listen to their story, show empathy, and engage with compassion. I will reach out to help. Okay, now to the last question. Focusing on deadlines and objectives. How do you behave then? When you have a deadline, you have an objective. When I have an objective and a deadline, I feel energized. I get energized and focused. In the zone, in the flow, while focusing on an objective. I have a deadline. I complete the hardest tasks first. First thing in the morning. I withdraw to focus. I bury my head in the task to finish it. Okay. I communicate openly that I have little time. Deadlines are normal. I removed the stress element long time ago. Okay, so I befriended deadlines. I make myself clear and I do not allow any interruptions. Straightforward, focused on the goal. Just focus on the goal. Keep going. I clear my day, no phones, no distractions, get it done, regardless of the day. Great. Great. Remember your answers, because maybe they will change by the end of our workshop. Let's say this is our first checkpoint. This is where you are. And let's see what will happen or what may happen. So let's start by searching for the tar. In somatic thinking, in my philosophy, before working with anything, we need to start by understanding where is the tar. What is actually not working? What is this, the tar, the black, oozy liquid that is filled with limitation and hindering beliefs and behavioral limits that we have without even noticing? Only then we can move forward by understanding where we are standing exactly. So let's start our search for what does a leadership tar look like? And actually, even in coaching or for us as human beings. So let's look under the hood, the human behind the leader. How do we think? How your mind interacts with life. Let's examine this for a moment. Please look at this girl in the yellow dress. It's an experiment, but we will do it together. From your point of view, what is she experiencing and how does she feel? And please share, how do you see her in the chat box? So based on what you see now, what is she experiencing? What could be her story? How does she feel? She's on a stage preparing to perform a song. She's about to go out, feeling ready. She looks sad and rejected. She feels confident and ready. She wants to start dancing. She's thoughtful. She's thoughtful again. So many perspectives. Same stimuli, same girl. Waiting that somebody says sorry to her. She's pretty. Maybe she is going to a party. She's sad, you get heart, looking where to go next. Okay. Now ask yourself how attached you are to being right. Her hair and dress is perfectly put together. She looks after herself, confident. She is experiencing loss. So, same stimuli, same girl, different perspectives. How attached you are to being right. Keep the answer for this question with you. Now keep looking at the girl and tell me how you see her now. What is she experiencing? How does she feel now from your perspective? And share it on the chat box. Concentration and focused. Joy, feels happy. I'm free and limitless. She feels confident now. Flow in tune with herself. Enjoying, moving, still thoughtful, living in the zone. She is in the flow, in her element. She's happy, joy, dance. Filled with energy, focused, absolute mastery of her body. She feels like a conqueror. Same stimuli, different perspectives. Yet, in the same time, it is exactly the same girl. The only difference that I took a picture of her within the same situation before she would start dancing. Why? Why did we see the same person differently? And adding to that, why did each one of us create his or her own story around her? This is the first piece of tar that we need to uncover. The only difference here, in reality, is a bit of sensory information, a variation in sensory information. The still picture, there is varied colors, there's a contrast between the shadow and the light, there is a humanoid form that looks like a female, there is long hair, there is a yellow color. And on the other side, on a sensory level, there is more dynamic movement, it is not still. There is more contrast between shadow and light, and there is like differences in the form of the dress in it itself. So different level of sensory stimuli made us change our perspective about her. Although all the people that said that the still picture, she may be upset or sad, or she's thinking, or she is like in a gloomy state because of the black background, or reading her body language and all of this. I cannot determine, you cannot determine how she feels. Only she can determine how she feels. Only she knows her own story. I cannot as a human being. I see her from the outside. I cannot tell if she's happy, she's sad, she's angry. I cannot tell if she's looking down because she's thinking, or she is looking down because she is about to conquer the world, or she's looking down because she's about to explode in tears. The same thing while she's dancing and these lovely physical movements. She could be a Russian dancer who is forced to dance in the opera for the sake of her children. I do not know. Not because she is moving gracefully, it means that she is happy and liberated and feeling exceptional. Her inner world is an enigma, is an unknown for me because I'm outside in the outer world. And this is where the first star comes from. You see, our mind is biased to see the world with clarity and certainty. When the sensory information is limited, what do? Our mind starts generating more meaning to feed our bias towards clarity and certainty. You see, clarity and certainty give us comfort. It makes us have this false sense of safety through knowledge, because I know the story. And this is where it all started. Biases towards clarity and certainty. I saw you looking down and that means this and this and that. Or 100 years of body language. I saw you crossing your arms like this and that means according to this and this and that you are shielding yourself or you do not want to interact. Isn't that the kind of things that we studied or encountered? And it is not true. Any behavior can connect to any meaning inside of me. I do not know. You will not know what's the meaning that led to my behavior until you ask me. I saw you doing this. What does that mean for you? I saw you looking down. What does that mean for you? I noticed that you chose this dress. What does that mean for you? So let me ask you now, since we are searching for the tar and all, through this experiment, did you learn anything about your own biases? What is your bias? 1 or 2 keywords will be enough. We all have them. Yes, definitely. You cannot be not biased, yet you can notice yourself and notice how much biases influence your decision-making. I tend to look at the negative. Fantastic authenticity. Thank you, Elena. I look for a positive angle. Great. I look for positives. What else? What is your special bias? I try to see the best in a situation. Biases are also a great success in evolution. I agree and disagree in the same time, Elaine. And please, we can discuss it more in the Q&A. Depending on how I feel, happy and sad, I see different things in others. So I see others through me. Great catch. What else? I am operating due my visual and kinetic filters. Yes. Good catch. Sometimes my judgment of situations is influenced by my personal experience. Great. That everyone has his or her own reality, but still I see others through my own eyes. I was released that asking is the key. Yes, asking is the key. Great. Thank you for engaging. So we found our first star, biases. And it doesn't mean that biases needs to be eliminated, but biases need to be seen. Okay, do we have other TARs? Yes. Like what? Let me give you a chance first to answer this question for yourself. And which you already answered. How does it look like for you? But if you can tell me about how does biases look like in leadership specifically, it would be great. Or in coaching. When biases becomes a limitation, become a tar. JJ's, fantastic judgment and justifications. 100% agree. Injustice. The first word is not clear for me, Dinish. Go ahead.
Clicks. It's like clicks.
Clicks. Okay. Clicks in organization start. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Teething. In coaching, when I rely on my own implicit interpretations without clarifying language and meaning by client, definitely. Limiting beliefs, when biases put me in a box. Wow, that is a great one. If I think I know the solution in half of the session, in one-on-one sessions, okay, in individual sessions, yes. Great. So let's go to our next TAR. I always like to examine what connects us all. And what connects us all, crossing cultures and beliefs, is that we all need to interact with life. We have a relationship with life, no matter what culture or belief you have. So in our relationship to life, life offers us something and we offer it something. What life offers is simply indifferent, unbiased stimuli. Energies that stimulates our senses and thinking. There is no likes and dislikes. Life doesn't give us a stimuli with a preset likes or dislike. No matter what the stimuli is, if it's a hurricane or if it's lovely weather, at the end, there is no good or bad in it. So, for example, the picture that you see on the right, with a stimuli, on a stimuli level, a sensory language, it would be that there are colors that I perceive. I still do not know the names of the colors on that level. It's indifferent. But there is a variation in the light that I'm receiving. And there is a shape, there is a smell, and there is a sound. It is not named yet. And this is the first thing, the first interaction between life and me. It sends me stimuli. After that, what I give to life is meaning. Then I offer the interpretation. This is when we interpret the sensory information that we perceive. and we start giving it a meaning. Then at this stage, this is when in the girl with the yellow dress experiment, I received sensory and I started giving it meanings from my side. The sensory is indifferent, not good or bad, not right or wrong. It's just stimulus. And I interpret it with my way. For example, on the same picture, this is where I will start giving names to the color. This is the color red. I like the color red. I hate the color red. And this shape is a butterfly. That's the level of, on a perception level and meaning creation. So if life gives me an indifferent, unbiased stimulus, and I provide the meaning, how can this help us, this piece of information? Okay, let me share this with you through an example. A module that I have in my methodology, somatic thinking. So imagine this with me. Life gave you a stimuli that looks like this, which is something in the present event stimuli, a shape, a visual variation, vibration, and emotion. Sorry, and motion. All of this sensory information. The first point of entry, the door between the outside world and my meaning-making world, the inside world, is my body. So my body takes in this sensory, this information. And then there is what I call the temporal perspectives or the experience shapers. All of us, we have three experience shapers. Perspectives that's connected to the time. So if I am present, I will perceive this event differently than if I am connected to the past or occupied with the past or occupied by the future. So if you see these icons, the present perspective, I call her Grandma Wise. Grandma Wise, when she receives the sensory, she just receives it as it is. Mr. Control, the past perspective, he have this filter of past experiences constantly that's making him reshape reality to match his experience. Exploitee, or the future perspective, I think you can tell that I designed these so I can teach my children about it. So exploitee is constantly this perspective that I have when I am focusing on the future. So what happens at this stage? Yes, my body receives all the sensory information from life, the picture of the butterfly. But if my mind was occupied by the past or the future, then I will start perceiving this picture deformed, which I call an asynchronous perception, a perception that it's out of sync with reality. This is where selective listening happens. This is where not listening happens. For example, I'm not perceiving what's happening outside as it is. I am perceiving it through the filter of my past or my future, my presumptions, judgment, or expectations and aspirations and goals. And this gets informed by my who, or who I am, cognition, and the result is an out of sync action. I will start behaving with a way that is not aligned with what's happening in reality. And then there is Grandma Wise, the present perspective, the whole idea of being present in the now while the event is happening. And to interact with this event from that perspective, This is when my perception will be in synchrony with reality. So I start seeing things closer to how they truly are on a sensory level. So the butterfly in there will look like the butterfly out there. But with the past perspective and the future perspective, it could be a butterfly and I will think that it's a bat. And I'm scared of bats. Or it could be a beautiful butterfly and I'm too occupied by the future to the extent that I will not even notice the butterfly. I'll be somewhere else. And this happened in a lot of conversations, in a lot of interactions, in a lot of relationships, on a leadership level, on a coaching level, on a human level. So the result of perceiving the event from a present perspective is an in-sync action. Like my behavior will be relevant and related to what's actually happening. Biases doesn't live there that much. Of course they are there, but they are not my to-go to. First, I need to absorb what is there. Then I make an opinion about it. But the past perspective and the future perspective, no, I am too occupied with what's inside to see what is there clearly. And this is our second, basically, TAR. We all have the same stimuli, but through the temporal perspectives, we can experience the same stimuli with 3 different ways or even more. So if I was stuck with a past perspective, let's say a dear friend of mine died with COVID yesterday, and I entered this room. His or her memory is constantly in my mind. While I'm entering this room, although it is bright, I will feel it dim. Although you have a lot of smiley faces, I will see you grumpy and upset, even if that's not your fact. So Mr. Control here trapped my perspective in the past experience that I did not still shake it out. And in that moment, I will start seeing everything with the way that I want to see it. And the result, I will also listen. I will start listening selectively. So if you will tell me hi, I will take it with the darkest level that it is possible. What do you mean hi? How dare you to tell me hi? I will find the way to discharge the emotion that has nothing to do with reality. It is more connected to this perspective, to the past perspective. The same thing with the future perspective, and only this present perspective, Grandma Wise, the idea that I am just connected to this moment, presence, that will allow me to relate and interact relevantly, in sync with what's happening. And this is our second TAR, temporal perspectives. Time-based perspective. So tell me, how does it look like in leadership? How does it look like in coaching? More importantly, how does it look like in your life? When your past and future perspective steal you away from the present moment. Please share with us some of your answers on the chat box. They might steal a moment, but they also send me a message. loss of sensual experience of the moment. Layers. You do not see things as they are. An ability to really connect. Yeah. It will not be an act of connection. It will be a constant act of protection. I wonder what else. Wow, time is flying with you guys. Good, means I'm enjoying. Not enjoying, experience the moment. Okay. Limiting, fearful, loss of creativity. Agree. Disconnection. Okay, about your question, they might steal a moment, but they also send me a message. Can you explain this point for me?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually like the idea of having different perspectives.
Yes.
and if there is maybe something, like you just said, there's something happened, and that takes my presence for that moment. So it maybe it's good then if I have whatever a meeting that I'm aware of it and I can put it aside for a moment. But it's also good to know it, that it's there, because I can use it. It tells me something about me, not? So if I know what it is, then if I'm getting aware of it.
Fantastic. Let me speak to that for a moment, because I'm sure that this may confuse others as well. You see, we do not and cannot grow by suppressing part of us. And the three perspectives are three important parts of us. Yet, we need to learn to reorganize the information based on what I'm doing. So if I'm interacting with the outside life, like I am interacting with someone, something, or an experience, then I need the information to be organized, prioritizing what I'm interacting with. So first, grandma-wise, absorb what is there, then past perspective and future perspective start interacting with what I absorbed from reality. And this is just a matter of reorganizing the order that I process and experience with. So first I sense, feel, then process. If I'm used to be kidnapped by past perspective or future perspective, I will be entering the experience that I'm interacting with my own glasses. So I start from the past experience. This is when I will find myself listening to respond, not listening to connect and understand. This is when I will find myself listening to justify, or impatient to reach the point where I would say what I want to say. So it's just a matter of reordering who should I listen to first. When I'm interacting with the outside world, I need first present perspective, get this valuable information from outside. Then I start processing it with the help of the other two guys. Okay, so now we know the second tar. Now to the third tar. We cannot hide. Let me explain to you what do I mean by that. We all spoke like thousands and thousands and thousands of years of spiritual paths and philosophies spoke about the idea that we are all connected and we all are impacted by everything and everything impacts us. Now science is catching up through quantum entanglement and quantum physics, that everything on an atomic level is constantly connected and there is a constant communication between them. And HeartMath Institute, based on research by HeartMath Institute, actually it is not a new research, it's very old. Let's talk about heart intelligence. The idea that the heart speaks constantly. My heart, it works like a receiver and a transmitter at the same time that send and receive information much more than my brain. Let me show you how. What the heart uses is this variation of the heartbeat, what we call a melody, like music. If you noticed, of course, when we go and check our BPM rate, and the doctor tell me, or the nurse will tell me that you're healthy, great. Usually they just give me the middle, the round number of my heart rate. Yet, when we look at it under the microscope, when we look at it with more accuracy, you will notice, for example, here, the wave frequency and intensity of each beat is different. So, which means the width between each beat and another is different. 88, 79, 73, and that's a healthy person. And the top of each beat is different than another. So the height is different and the width is different. That means there is two variables. And to allow this to remind you of something, this is exactly like the technology that we have. Everything that we invented is based on the ones and zeros, two variables. You can see me now based on this ones and zeros variation. And after that, your computer, your phone, start translating it back, translating this ones and zeros from a machine language to an actual video feed and audio feed. So it turns out that our heart is doing exactly the same thing. With every heartbeat we have, we are sending and receiving. Okay. Let's look into a research that it did not prove only that. It also proved something that's called heart coherence, which is the scientific proof that our hearts are connected. And heart coherence, to prove this idea, they got Josh and his dog Maple, and they conducted this lovely research on the dog and his owner. They strapped both of them into a BPM machine, a heart monitor, mobile heart monitor, and they asked Josh to stay outside of the room. They took the dog, they put him in a separate room. All of that while they are constantly measuring the BPM, their heart rates. And then they asked the boy, please come in to the room, sit silently without one word in the corner, and just conjure your intention, your love towards your dog. And then after a while, they asked him to leave. And this was the result. If you will notice here, what is down there, that's Josh's heart, the boy. And this is Maple. When they were in separate rooms, you can see the irregularity of the heart of the boy. And the same thing with the dog. And then once the boy entered the room and they asked him to sit down, he sat and just remember how much do you love your dog and so on, silently. Then his heart started becoming more regular, which is not very unique. Any of us, if we just sit, relax, meditate, breathe, we can start, our heart rate will start calming down. But what is unique and magical to see that the heart rate of the dog synchronized with the heart of the boy. Almost instantaneously in the same time, their hearts became in sync. Until they asked the boy to come out of the room, and then his heart went back to his normal regularity, and the same thing with the dog. And this is what's magical about it, that basically what that means and how they interpret it, and then they conducted a lot of research that you can always feel free to search about in Just Right Heart Math Institute, that the heart of the boy sent information to the heart of the dog, and the dog heart received it, and based on this reception, they synchronized, creating the phenomena that is called now heart coherence. This research, when they started doing it more and benefiting from it with people, for example, the one on the top, that's the heart measurement of someone who's frustrated, feeling a responsibility. Imagine a coach who is considering himself, especially coaches at the beginning of their career, who are putting in their mind that my job is to achieve goals and results, to reach goals and results. So this sense of responsibility will cause pressure, emotional pressure on me, even if I'm hiding it nicely behind this nice smile and calm external presence. But in reality, this is what my heart will be communicating, this sense of pressure. Am I helping my client or not? Am I truly doing it or not? And this pressure that will start adding frustration, maybe a bit of anger towards myself, maybe something else, I do not know. And at the end, my heart will send this information to my coachee. And the same thing for a leader. If all what I'm putting in mind is deadlines, tasks that needs to be done, special financial marks that needs to be reached, this is what my heart will be communicated constantly. Even if I am meeting an employee of mine that honestly I feel a kind of an emotional distress from him because of a mistake or something, and I decided that I will hide it. Verbally, I can hide it easily and make this face, but on a heart level, the real messages are being sent. And the other person is receiving it, but the majority choose not to act upon it. On the contrary, they enter a state of lack of trust because I hear two messages. I hear your calm voice telling me you are good, everything is well, and so on. But in the same time, there is a sense that I'm receiving from you that you are not telling me truly how you feel about me. And this is the heart rate of someone who is calm, who is experiencing appreciation, for example, or someone who is just, I'm not taking the responsibility of tasks, I'm more taking the responsibility of being curious and giving space for people to grow, for example, as a coach or as a leader. So heart coherence will communicate how you truly feel, no matter what you will try, no matter how many hats, how many masks, cultural or polite-wise or belief-wise, no matter what you will do, what's in your heart will reach the other person. And this is the tar, the last tar that we have. Hiding intentions and feelings. It doesn't work. It just creates two conflicting conversations. One conversation on a verbal level and the other on a non-verbal level. And both of them are clashing. And we are wired to believe the non-verbal because the body doesn't lie. Yet, we deformed ourselves to doubt it and to start claiming that no, it's not like that, it's like this. So I start dismissing the messages that my body is giving me. The heart is only an example, but in reality, every atom in my being is sending non-verbally and receiving non-verbally. So tell me, how does it look like in leadership and coaching to hide intentions and feelings? From your point of view. There is a contradiction, and then the client cannot really trust. It's less authentic. Great. Lack of trust and authenticity. A block. It leads to unconscious resistance. Yep, by the sender and the receiver. Exhaustion. Yeah. The mask is heavy. Wearing a mask of niceness while I feel something heavy inside of me, it is taxing. Strains trust and can be an infectious cultural attitude within an organization. Saw it many times. Thank you for sharing this, Charles. Interesting in respect of coach position. Yeah. It demotivates hiding intentions and feelings. If we do not have trust, we will not feel a safe space. If I do not have a safe space, I will not be motivated to share with you what's truly happening for me. I will try to share with you what you want to hear. No trust and no loyalty. You cannot not communicate. Unhealthy. Trouble is, it also looks and is considered as professional. I hear you, but this is why we are here, what we are here to change. Let me share with you a bit about this point. Emotions are not professional. Emotions are inappropriate in the working environment. This is what we grew up with, for example. Or this is, let's say, the mainstream mentality that be professional. And be professional, that means to constantly keep your emotions in check. But I'm sure that the majority of the coaches here and also the leaders who studied EQ, for example, know that it is not about the emotions. Emotions are not the problem. The problem in professionalism is when we suppress emotions until we reach explosions. So emotional outbursts. Emotional outbursts is not professional. But emotional awareness and emotional expression, this is what will keep it professional. Because if what I am feeling, I developed my own language to express it appropriately, with a language that it's appropriate to the organizational culture that I'm in, then actually emotions will increase the bond, will increase the communication. What's in the heart will start reaching the heart. And from there, we build a real connection instead of this tendency of protection. Protecting my emotion from you. And then even if you will share your emotion with me, I will protect myself from your emotion. Thank you for this point. Tricky when you have to serve different stakeholders at different hierarchy levels in a company. I agree that it is tricky, but from what I observed with the leaders that I worked with, what is trickier is to try to hide things and wear a certain mask to each, or a specific hat based on the stakeholder that I'm dealing with. At the end, I will end up exhausted. And anyway, what's inside of me, it's reaching them, even if it's if it's reaching them with a lot of ambiguity, they can sense it. Then they will start putting their own meanings. Remember the biases. And this is where I will find myself stuck in relationships with some of my stakeholders. Wonderful input for clients who have difficulties to trust. Okay, definitely. Okay, so let's, wow, time flew. The last star, quickly. Examining our life today. It's very simple. Look at our situation now with COVID-19 in 20 and 21, and I do not know until where we will reach. VUCA, ambiguity, chaos, uncertainty. The nature of our life, the default of life is the unknown. So if not knowing is the default, it is a waste of energy trying to beat this default. To go into war with not knowing is just, for me, from my humble perspective, it's like as if I am trying to dig a hole in the sea. Okay, after this one, I will know enough. And then I found myself that I need to know more. And then, no, that's not enough yet. So it becomes this taxing journey. And this is the last piece of tar that we have, at least for today, that I want to share with you in today's session. Not knowing, which basically contain all what we spoke about before. We have biases because the unknown scare us. And since the unknown scare us, I need to know. This is how I will beat the unknown. The temporal perspective, I run towards the past and the future because the present, there is a lot of variables that I do not know as well. So the unknown is a constant lingering fear. We fear death because of the unknown, or at least from my observation, crossing cultures and beliefs in many countries and 3 languages. Hiding intentions, again, unknown. I do not know how the other person will react if I will share with them how I truly feel. So, a quick question for you. I'm sorry because our time is almost ending. So I will let you answer it by yourself. How do you react to not knowing? Now, the majority of the mentalities of the leaders, or the what I call the cartographer style leader, it is built on this idea of fighting the unknown, trying to control the unknown. That is the default of life. And the result that the responses of such leader would be something like, judge, whenever I face biases or I have biases, judgment, justification, inflexibility, attachments to my opinion, and more and more and more. Because the whole idea of a cartographer style, that I have the map inside of me, I spend this excruciating time building a clear map that charts everything. I learned, I studied, I have 3 PhDs, I have experts that I asked, and so on, and until this map inside of me is complete. Until COVID will come and demolish everything. And this is what we saw, that when the unpredictable or the uncertainty of the unknown hits, no map works. So this is where biases will start failing me, or this way of thinking will start failing me. Temporal perspectives. The answer of a cartographer is that I need to know more, but I need to know more based on my map, because I just need to complete my map. I do not need to truly connect and understand what's happening outside. So the result is that I will start listening selectively, or not listening because it doesn't fit my map, it doesn't fit my plan. Or micromanaging because you are not doing it according to the plan, according to what we need to accomplish, and so on. So I become this kind of a person who is attached to his plan so much. And because of my biases, the inflexibility of becomes the norm of this plan. Hiding intentions and feelings, my response to it will be, keep it more professional, less emotional. And you can do it. Just focus on your charisma, focus on how would you say the things, focus on influencing people instead of focusing on being real, being yourself, being human, being authentic. And that will reach people by itself. Now, give me the techniques, give me the tools. How can I make people believe me? Cartographers, not knowing, their answer to not knowing is constantly more information and better goals to control the unknown and achieve results. I need more information, or I just need to change my goals a bit. So if I change my goal because the problem is in the goal, then I will be able to beat the unknown and win. So the results is usually something like this. And this is based on my colleagues in ICF Austria, after they conducted a review with leaders and their staff, which is fantastically put. So looking from a staff perspective, I apologize, I do not want to keep you for longer than it should be. So I will skim through it. And anyway, my gift for you will be this presentation that you can see it as whenever you want. So from a staff perspective, in his meaning world, this is what we found. Constantly thinking that their leader cannot lead. You cannot lead. You are a puppet of your shareholders. You do not care about me, really. You just care about yourself. What do you do up there anyway? In your office in the hierarchy. I see you just working for 4 hours while I'm here grinding. I'm powerless and under pressure to survive, and you earn well and have a high living standard. In the staff mind, this is the kind of inner conversations that happen. Imagine what their hearts are sending and transmitting constantly to each other and to their leaders. Now, the leaders, based on this survey, my way of coping with change is sufficient and justified, like responding with justification right away. I cannot resist the shareholders. I'm here for them to be happy, and I need to save my livelihood in the same time. Why are you not happy? You do not understand the pressure I'm under. Acquisitions and buyout, it is not my fault. It's life happening. You are not working hard enough to stay in the game. If we just put them across each other, the inner talk of the leader versus the staff, it will be like a fight. All of this is happening internally. So when the staff think, you cannot lead, the leaders think, my way of coping with change is sufficient and justified. From where do you know that I cannot lead? If I think as a staff, you are a puppet of your shareholders, my belief, from a leader perspective, my belief that I am here for the shareholders and so on. So basically, we are just feeding each other's biases, and the result, conflict. Because inner conversations are happening without real expression. The solution, from my humble opinion, is to make a narrative shift from a cartographer style to a radar style. Simply put, what is the radar style is about? When there's biases, I just need presence. What does presence mean? That means a present perspective. To get the information that's there outside in reality and try to isolate myself from biases just for a bit, enough to perceive what's happening outside clearly. Temporal perspective, again, presence. I need to be present. Hiding intentions and feelings, I need to exchange that with authentic expression. Not knowing, presence-based curiosity. So basically, the leader, the radar style leadership is where I just throw away the map. And I activate my senses. So I will be able to make decisions on the spot based on the present moment and the approximate points in the timeline. The leader, the radar style leader, will be able to take decisions on the spot right away. It's constantly about not knowing all what there is to be known. No. What is this stimuli is telling me? What does that mean? The leader would say, would tell himself. Okay, if what I am feeling from my staff, for example, I sense, yeah, he said there is nothing wrong, everything is fine, but what I am sensing is something different. I will speak to what I'm sensing. I will share more my logic behind my decisions. Express clearly, even if it's about like hard decisions, like if someone is being fired. I will share with them my emotional input about it, and so on. So as much authenticity as possible. I face not knowing with curiosity, not with the need to know. This whole idea of creating a healthier relationship to the question instead of focusing on, I need answers. Okay, everyone, I think this is all the time that I could squeeze from you all and from our session. So allow me just to leave you with this piece. The path to mastery is in practicing the basics of the art. This is Morohi Yoshiba Sensei said, the Aikido founder. Leadership basics are presence and authentic humanity. To support people growing beyond objectives. So if you focus on the objective, it's like you are focusing on the fish. Supporting people to grow beyond the objectives, you are teaching people to grow fish and to hunt much, much more than you will ever gain. So objectives and deadlines, they're amazing. Yeah, it may motivate. But remember, as a leader or as a coach, growing people awareness beyond the objective will allow them to achieve much, much, much more than the limits that you perceived, like your breathing, the limits that you perceived about your breath. People can grow much beyond it. And no, there is no time for that. There is no time for that. And please feel free to join me on this WhatsApp group. So we can, if you would like more questions, I will be more than happy to respond to every question you have. And the reason that I chose WhatsApp group, because honestly, I love voice messages. Texting kills me. So it will be easier for me to respond with a voice message than texting. And this is where I would love to thank you all for such a beautiful presence. Thank you, Melina, for having me. And I will be looking forward to hear from you all.